Now, in a previous video, I speculated that the reason the government is making it more difficult for farmers and it's making it more expensive and they're taxing them is so that BlackRock can buy out the farms. Now when I said BlackRock, I didn't mean actual BlackRock. I meant companies like BlackRock. But it turns out that I was incredibly accurate because this morning, Keir Starmer has actually partnered with BlackRock. For the betterment of the people, of course, because BlackRock is renowned for bringing prosperity and caring about the little folk. Now, here you have an individual by the name of Daniel Priestley. He is the founder of Net Global, Entrepreneur of the Year, and he's actually explaining the steps in which the land grab can happen. And I do believe that he is pretty accurate, because this has happened in the third world with first world nations moving in. And I think it also happened to the pig farmers in the United States. Not exactly like this, but very close. So, okay, like the first step is the inheritance tax that the British government has now set on the farmers. So take into account that farming is not like any other profession. It's not like opening a restaurant. It's a culture. It's a way of life. Most people are farmers because their parents were farmers, and their grandparents were farmers, and their great-grandparents were farmers. So, like, they inherit most of the stuff. They inherit the land, and they inherit the house. Like, they never actually got to see the money for which their house is being priced at. Like, they never had it in their bank account, and they never will. They just inherit the house, and then they will give it to their children when they die. But the question is, like, how do you price a house? So, for instance, in my neighborhood, I bought my house for $100,000. Now, if, let's say, someone was to buy my neighbor's house for $300,000, and then someone else comes and buys another neighbor house for $300,000, then my house gets estimated at $300,000. It's pretty much how it works, right? So, like, if people buy over the market around you, your property increases, and then your inheritance tax also increases, right? So, like, the first step is going to be that they will start buying up small plots of agricultural land at double the normal price. They will issue a directive to all of their energy companies simultaneously to aggressively acquire plots for carbon capture. These third parties will start bidding against each other and force the value of the agricultural land to go up. Farmers won't believe their luck. These city folks are mad. If they want to buy an acre for 50,000 pounds, who am I to say no to these fools? This is why they're going to be talking at the pubs. Now, these crazy prices will set record high comparison for agricultural land. When a farmer dies, their farm will be valued using these new metrics. And the next generation will discover that the farm they thought was worth $3 million is actually now worth $9 million. But here's the kicker, right? No one will buy it from you at $9 million. However, the government will tax you for $9 million. Isn't economics awesome, right? Did you guys learn about this in school? Did they teach it? Because I know a lot of people like socialism, a lot of people like regulations. Do you learn this in high school in Britain? Huh? Did you have like your economic professor talk about these things? Because here's the interesting part, right? The left is trained to hate. They are genuinely trained to hate the rich. And when they are hearing that, oh, these farmers, they're worth $9 million, they'll be like, oh, the kulaks, the evil kulaks, right? But they never get to see $9 million in their bank account. In fact, most farmers probably live a more modest lifestyle than most city folks. You can have a farmer that has like a net worth of $3 million, but he probably lives somewhere below medium wage. Because farming isn't really that profitable. As I mentioned before, it's a culture, it's a way of life. You're making breakfast, dinner, and lunch for people. But if you play a video game like Farming Simulator, you will notice that you don't actually end up with a lot of cash in your pocket. Most of the money goes for tractors, most of the money goes for plant seeds, for fertilizer, for a lot of stuff, right? Like, the tractors are expensive, the combines are expensive, your house is also expensive. So, like, in total, you may have a net worth of 3 million, but you never actually get to enjoy that money. Like, you're just using that money so you can produce somewhere maybe 30,000, 40,000 pounds per year. And of course, like, you have the advantage that you don't have to buy all the groceries and you don't have to buy a lot of stuff because you can grow it yourself, right? Like, that's part of the farming lifestyle. But for the city folk, when they're hearing, oh, these people have a net worth of 3 million and I live in a one-room apartment, but that person living in a one-room apartment has access to better amenities and has a lot more fun than the guy that's a farmer. The guy living in a one-room apartment, he goes to restaurants, he goes to nightclubs, he parties a lot, he enjoys life to its fullest. Meanwhile, the farmer has to work for a living. But they're trained to hate the rich, right? So when they advocate taxing the farmers, they don't actually want to see the farmer paying cash or getting money. It's just they want to hurt the farmer. And it's also the ideology, like, farmers are right-wingers, right? So they're bad, they're conservatives, they're bad. They're cisgender, heteronormative white people, so they're bad. Like everything that the ideology teaches it's bad, this is the farmer. So, like, this is why you have a lot of leftists thinking that it's a good thing to go after the kulaks. So, in Swoops, a BlackRock subsidiary with an agri-debt finance tax relief produces to lend them 20% of the value of their farm so they can pay up the taxes. Right, so, like, you go to a bank, like, you're a farmer, and now you're worth 9 million pounds. Again, you can't sell the land for 9 million, and at the same time, you never get to see 9 million, but you need to pay taxes for 9 million. So, like, what the fuck do? You go to a bank, right? And the bank is like, okay, we're going to give you the loan, but we need you to implement all of these ESG practices that will fuck you up. Like, you're basically going to get less money if you follow these ESG practices, but you have to do them in order to get the loan, right? So the debt comes with conditions. Like, all of this is already happening, but it's not happening at such a scale, and you don't have income taxes high in other countries, basically. So the debt comes with conditions, and you need to have, like, the software, the fertilizer, the machinery, the labor solution that the bank tells you that like, BlackRock approves for you to have. And of course, you're not making money now. Like, you're making even less because all of these ESG solutions are not to make your farm profitable. They're actually designed to make it sustainable, but that's not profitable. So when you cannot make the payments, your farm is now sold at an auction, and BlackRock subsidiaries are instructed not to buy these farms at an auction. They have a special arrangement to buy the unsold farms at a rate that covers the unpaid debt, plus the outstanding fees and taxes to the government. In other words, they buy it for the 3 million which the farm is originally worth. Now, a BlackRock subsidiary then takes over the farm, consolidates it with massive group of farms, and uses illegal immigrant labor to staff the farm. And the government will literally pay for the labor costs as part of this plan in order to make the farms wildly profitable and making small family farms unable to compete. So now the small family farms get to sell as well. Now, this is like the worst case scenario, but I think, like, it's going to be, like, if this is 100%, you're going to get 70%, unless something changes. Like, of course, at any point, something can change, maybe you have a snap election, maybe people protest and they put pressure on the government and they back away from the inheritance tax or other things, Unlikely, but it is possible, right? And maybe not all the farmers are willing to sell, so the price doesn't go up. Many, they don't go to the bank to loan. Maybe they start, making various co-ops and stuff in order to survive. Who knows? Maybe they find legal loopholes. I mean, you don't have to use inheritance tax. You can actually donate your farm to your kid while you're alive. You can start a company, right? You can start a limited company and you can become a shareholder with your family. Like, there's ways. I'm pretty sure, like, the farmers that actually will hire a legal team that's from Britain is going to tell them the loopholes and the legal ways to get around it. But, like, most people won't bother. What probably will happen is that most people are just not going to care about it. They die, and then it's going to be their kid's fault. It's going to be their kid's problem. Not to mention, like, you have also a lot of farmers now that are very old and they don't have time or money to hire legal counsel and figure it out, right? So the idea is, like, some people will So it's not going to be like 100% like this, but it's going to be very close. Now, what will happen? Who benefits? Well, in theory, you're going to witness massive demographic change, right? Like, the moment the farmers are unable to farm, like, their culture will change. So if the culture changes, the rural community changes as well. If you're going to have, like, migrants or asylum seekers, right, moving to the rural side to work, the demographic changes, the voting pattern changes over time. And then, of course, you're going to have the food quality different, right? Because, like, these big companies, they follow their own standards, they follow their own rules. Like, you're not going to have the same quality of goods that are coming from the farmers now that are farming in the traditional sense that they learned from their parents. BlackRock obviously is going to profit from it because they're going to acquire a lot of land, and they're going to corporatize the farming sector in the UK. So this is the future. Again, unless there is pressure, and if the government ends up having a snap election or something like that. I personally noticed that what the British public understands is to vote conservative. If you guys aren't going to vote third party, I don't know what to tell you. Britain is the country that either likes to be fucked by blue or likes to be fucked by red, but they like to get fucked nonetheless. I'm not saying that the third option is the best, but at least try it. That's my advice. Of course, it's kind of difficult for Britain to try it because even if you have the numbers, I don't know exactly how their, well, quote-unquote electoral college equivalent functions. But you're not going to get people from London voting anything else than Labour, right? So, like, in certain areas, in certain key places, it's already solidified so that they know how people will vote. Which means that this is why they can do this. Like, usually a government won't do this thing unless they know they're in the clear. Now, regarding Keir Starmer, I have a feeling that in the future you're going to see him go to various events organized by BlackRock and holding various speeches. And if you look at how much he is paid for those speeches, probably a lot. I don't know if it's going to be like £1 million per speech, but, within that area. So everyone wins, right? Like, BlackRock is happy, the politicians are happy, Labour is happy that they're going to, get better votes, right? Like, they can predict the pattern of voting demographic and whatnot. So everyone wins. Now, regarding the people, will there be a famine? No, there won't be a famine because Britain already imports food, right? You're just going to import more food. The quality of the food is going to drop. People are like, oh, will they rise up? The same way they rise up in North Korea, the same way they rise up in China, the same way they rose up in the Soviet Union. The answer is no, they don't rise up. They shut the fuck up and take it. Usually governments do not do this thing unless they are sure that everything is taken care of. Do you not think they expected people to get upset and to protest? Of course they did. But if you look at Britain, I've been warning them since 2016. Stop it with the censorship. Stop it with the censorship. Knock it off. Knock it off. No, they wanted censorship. They wanted safety. Well, yeah, but the safety is not for you. It's for the politicians. So now if you post memes on Britain, well, you can get in trouble, right? If you travel on the streets of London, there's cameras everywhere for your fucking safety, of course. In Australia right now, they're concerned about kids using social media. So, of course, adults have to use their ID in order to verify that, well, they're over the age of 18. For their safety, right? Like, enjoy your fucking safety. Have more. Have more. You love safety so much. People genuinely didn't care about how important free speech is. Like, free speech is the ability to hold politicians to account. That's it. If you cannot speak, you are not going to be able to talk about what's happening. You're not going to be able to organize. You're not going to be able to hold politicians accountable. Again, Britain is the ones that debanked Nigel Farage, right? And everyone is like, well, it's important, of course, like, for safety, okay, well, have your safety then. In Britain, it was for women, right? In Australia, it's for kids. In New Zealand, I believe it was for terrorism. Safety is always for someone, just not the politician. You know, that's the silent part. That's the silent part of the document. It's for the politician. It's always for the politician. But, you know, like, of course, we need to keep kids safe. We need to keep women safe. We need to keep us safe from terrorists. Yeah, sure. Yeah, absolutely. Let me know what you think. And I'll see you guys in the comment section. Take care.